justice and peace and equality.
Now, let me ask you this, and I want to ask, and I think just coming from, I work with Streets of Gentlemen. I work with a lot of men, a lot of male energy in the room, and I think one situation, what happens when it comes to, the men getting behind the women or whatever, is the women's empowerment looks like it only empowers women. And it doesn't, like, when you think of a man, and let's go back to what we said, your family, okay? When you think of a man getting into the household, when a man marries a woman, he wants to give her the world, right? He wants to give her what he wants to put her in a house. He wants to put her in a car. He wants to give her everything he could possibly give, And traditionally, what we've seen in the modern era, okay, not saying that all women are like this, but when women get the bag or they get hired in a man, it's kind of like it's for themselves. So could that be a point where, men are saying, hey, I don't really want to pass this power over like this, you know what I'm saying? Because men, and just what the men that I see, and I'm not just generalizing, for all men, because there's some deadbeat men and some deadbeat women, but generally men want to provide for their entire family. The women's rights movement sort of looks like it's just for them.
Leave them dumb. This is historically.
Okay.
When feminism started.
Okay.
When we didn't have the right to vote.
Okay.
When we didn't have the right to, the law used to say that our husband would own us. That changed by time. And I changed that law in Puerto Rico too.
Okay.
If you go to the history of women, and to answer your question, why is not a men movement? Okay, that's what you're trying to say. It's because the man didn't have to struggle like the woman did. Okay?
Right.
Before it was just you'll be home raising your kids and that's it. Homemaker, housewife, and sort of that thing. But we didn't have the right to vote. We didn't have the right to work outside. We didn't have to not even go to the supermarket alone. Because I'm a little bit old. Don't think I'm too young. We didn't have the right, for example, to go anywhere without your parents.
Right.
Or your brother. A girl could not go outside in my time when I was being raised to go alone someplace.
Right.
But eventually we earned all these rights, okay? The right to vote, the right to work, affirmative action, right? Because that's very important. Equal pay, right? For equal salary, equal pay for the same jobs that the men have. We still struggle worldwide about the rights of your own body. Young girls getting married, and they forced to sign a paper to get married. Or they get married because the parents say that they need to sell the girl in order to gain a cow or something like that. This is really happening for a while. It's one of the Michelle Obama movement. It is important to understand that men did not struggle like women did.
Totally understandable.
And we still struggle. Right. So historically, to answer your question, why we don't have a men movement and we have a woman's movement, it's because of that. Okay.
Right.
Second, the feminism movement had 3 stages.
Okay.
The first stage is to gain the rights to work and all this stuff and to vote. The second stage, that's when men realize why we are going against women, why we don't unite with the woman to help them to gain their rights or whatever. And it did happen.
Okay.
That's why you say, okay, but what about men? Yes, men in the second stage of feminism historically got united with women, and they work together for women to have the same rights. Okay. We still struggle. We're not there yet. The CEOs in the United States, if we have 25, it's a lot. And,
because women own most of the houses. I know in Atlanta, Georgia, I mean, every woman you see just about owns a house. You know, whether they're living by themselves, they're living with a husband.
But that's now. Before you can even buy a house by yourself.
Correct.
The credit was part of your husband. So with the law changed, and now my credit is my credit, and my husband's credit is my husband's credit.
Okay.
So, but before everything was in control under the man.
Wow.
And the problem with that is if you have a good husband, it's no problem, right?
Right.
But if you have a bad husband, it's a big problem.
Very big.
And that's where domestic violence comes in, and abuse comes in, and control comes in. And those are the things that the feminism movement fought and still fight.
Okay.
And equality. Now the world they will see. That's why.